if you've ever listened to like any other podcast out there, like the intros are either too scripted or complete and utter bullshit, which is my favorite. Yeah, is when they're just
I'm with that. Or they're like in conversation, they start recording at a point, and they're like, "Wait a minute, are we recording that?"
They're like, "Oh man, wait a minute."
That's how it should be.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
I should not have said that. Now everyone knows.
So sorry, everybody in the background. We have listeners in the area.
Live talk.
And she had a little cough.
All right, everybody, welcome to Red Diesel Podcast. My name is Drew Schultz. Joining me today, as hopefully always, is Brody Boese and Ryan Rose.
Howdy.
A little back history there. Ryan and I know each other from back in 2017 when I was racing UTVs. And Ryan was actually brought on as my mechanic. So he started fixing broken stuff for me, which I found to be very convenient because I have a great habit of breaking everything. So
that he does.
Yeah. And then when I quit racing UTVs, I actually came back and talked with Ryan, and he ended up just actually helping me fix everything I've started breaking. So when I started focusing more on the diesel industry and wrecking diesels, and Ryan also had a fortunate background in diesel fixing. So he was able to bring most of my diesels back to life and make them considerably better. So that's kind of how Ryan and I know each other.
Yeah, exactly. And, going from racing and being Drew's mechanic, he had a real good talent at breaking stuff, and that carried right on over to burnouts and diesels and pretty much anything else with wheels, motors, or, like he can hurt himself on. So I found myself slightly employed with no pay, but I mean, it's a job.
Do you have a really good story that really stands out about Drew?
Racing or breaking stuff?
Either one.
I think one of my favorite things. The day I knew Drew wasn't like the normal racer, is we were. I think we were in Bark River. Yeah, we were in Bark River, and we're sitting there and we're qualifying. And Bark River has this huge ski slope jump, and it's a ton of wide open time. And like, we're going and we got the radios on, we're listening, and he just won't lift. And all of a sudden he comes up the ski slope and he's in the air still. And he's like, "How far did I go?" And we're both like, "Dude, you're in the air." And he's like, "What?" And all of a sudden, dude, and he lands and just wigs it out. And next time he comes around, the entire stands of spotters are watching. I'm like, "Is he going to do it again?" And we're like, "I guess." And just he keeps it lit and he hits it again. And he's like, "How far?" And we're like, "You're still in the air." And that was, my first introduction to Drew. And then, like, as far as breaking stuff goes, we were doing some stuff at my house with UTVs, and we wadded the car up pretty good. And we went and got parts from the company we were at, and he's just like, "Man, this is what I always wanted. Free Red Bull, free parts, and a mechanic." I think I made it. And I mean, you'll probably hear that a few times throughout the course of this, is I made it or I peaked.
Yep, one of my favorite catchphrases.
Exactly the favorite team catchphrase. Well, I peaked, can't go any better than this.
Yep.
That's pretty bitchin'.
Yep. Yeah, that's another one. Brody, I actually know Brody. I met Brody last year, 2019, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2019, springtime.
Yep, Brody was filming for a rally race, and I was supposed to be filming for a rally race. I don't really know what I was doing up there, but I was up in Washington for a rally race. Brody was also up in Washington for a rally race, but he was actually working, making videos and cool content, and I was just up there having a good time like usual.
Pretty much.
Yep. So that was me meeting Brody, and then found out Brody was actually from the same state as I originally was from, which was Minnesota. So we ended up having a lot in common, both being from small towns in Minnesota. So we ended up knowing each other pretty well through that, and then ended up knowing a lot of the same people, which was interesting. And then now we started living together, and Brody and I live in the same house, but not in the same room.
Yeah, sadly not.
For anyone wondering.
For now, I mean, we try to have sleepovers.
Same house, not same room.
The girlfriend gets involved.
The girlfriend gets in the way. The bed isn't big enough. It's just this whole thing.
Yeah,
you spend enough time with Drew. Get upstairs now.
Yep. It's to get weird. I don't know. Keep it friendly.
Crap. But yeah, knowing that when we first met at a rally, and you're like, you instantly asked me, you're like, "You sound like you're from Minnesota." And I go, you gotta be kidding me.
Too many O's.
I was like, "Oh, it looks like I gotta work on a few things." So then we started talking, and you were like, "Yeah, where are you from?" And I'm like, "Elk River." You ever heard of that? Oh, yeah. And then it just kind of took off, and then we knew a lot of the same people, and it was a really small world, especially when you meet out in Washington, and you're like, from Minnesota too.
Yeah, that was the weird part, was going all the way to Washington, meeting somebody who was from basically the same area that you grew up in, which was pretty cool. But that was fun.
Oh, no, we had a great time. And then we ended up, I think that was like the second or third rally race. And then it took off from there, and we were at almost every single one.
And
working
off-road
together.
racing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like literally that summer, I lived in Arizona, you were up here, and we saw each other every other weekend, I think.
It got really weird really fast.
Yeah, between off-road racing and rally racing, we saw each other all over the country every other weekend.
Yep, and that's what made it fun. Then Ryan came to a few races, and I met Ryan, known as ZZ Top, is what I call him.
Yep.
I
Big
don't know
beard.
why. But
Just the beard.
oh, yeah.
Yep, exactly. That's pretty cool.
Yep. So that was a lot of fun last summer. Man, we traveled all over the country.
Yeah, not this summer.
No, not so much.
Not this one. Maybe next one.
Yeah.
Take off again.
Yep. So basically what we're doing here on the Red Diesel podcast, I found, so getting into the diesel industry and diesel market, I've been a huge diesel enthusiast for quite a considerable amount of time. It stemmed from my childhood growing up with an agricultural background on a farm. So we had a lot to do with diesels, but it was more old school diesels. So the old mechanical injected trucks and combines and everything else, where you had to have the super old school ways to keep them running. So you had left them running all night. You had to build bonfires underneath them. Just super cool old diesel-y stuff. And then what I kind of realized was there was this transformation that happened where diesels became a lot more reliable and a lot more user-friendly. And that's really what interested me, because you could still talk to the people like my dad and a lot of people he knows that talk about how diesels are unreliable, and they would never drive one daily because it takes too long to start them and all that stuff here in the winter. But it's cool to me that the industry is evolving as fast as it is. And I feel like there was a huge niche left out, and that's with the performance aspect of diesel. So that's kind of where I wanted Red Diesel Podcast to come in at. We're going to concentrate a lot more on the performance aspect of diesel with, new turbos coming out, new engines, the race series. We're going to try and look at ODSS series. UCC obviously is going to be a big focal point for us. A lot of the dyno events, things like that. I mean, they're doing phenomenal things in the diesel industry now that were never even thought of. I mean, Sean Baca just tried to set
a glorious fashion.
he tried to set that world record at 3,000 horsepower and came up just shy of that. It was awesome. I feel like if that motor would have held together, he would have been right there. But unfortunately, catastrophic failure happened, and that's also what a lot of us are looking to see out of that. So,
I mean, come on, look at the footage we got out of that. Do you think if he would have made the number, his name would have been as gloriously held up as it is now?
No, but his wallet would be a little thicker.
I mean, yeah, but
that one had to hurt in the checkbook. But
that one, that one stung a bit, but.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't build it to watch it sit on a trailer, so.
Very true. Which, we'll also talk about that. Good point, Ryan. We're going to talk about some trailer queens, too. We got some friends that do things with the SEMA show and build trucks just basically for looking cool, which is also
like wheels and lifts.
Yeah,
which is we know some people to talk about.
Yeah, which is also a huge part of this industry, also, and I feel like it's a focal point that doesn't get looked at enough. Brody, we make fun of him a lot for having a SEMA truck, but his truck was in SEMA. So
it was there. That is something going forward, and it's a beautiful truck.
Yep,
it's a beautiful truck.
If you hear Brody talk about, if you hear us giving Brody shit about his SEMA truck, that's exactly what we're talking about. It's a nice emissions equipped L5P.
Yep.
Sounds like a unicorn queef.
Yeah, pretty much. Sounds like my Prius.
Yep. Sounds like a Prius whenever he starts it. But
that's the best joke.
I can't really step in on that one. I only have not even a running diesel right now with a full delete. So, I am also I'm not only a member, but I am chief and CEO of the Unicorn Queef crew. I have I have a fully intact emissions Passat and a fully intact emissions Power Stroke.
Yep.
So I can't give Brody too much shit other than it's a SEMA truck.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have next level, but not by much.
That's a nice truck. Tell us what's on that truck.
So on that truck we have BDS lift. That's nice. I think 4-inch BDS lift in it, and then I have Fox shocks. Coilover Fox shocks on that one. And, brought to you by this bud.
Got him.
All right, break at 10 minutes. but no, we have I have moto medals on there. 20. What is that? 22? No, 10. 20, I have. I
Please leave that in.
Yeah.
SEMA truck.
Yeah. Add it to the list, Brody. Don't you have one of those cardboard boards that you put next to the tire?
No shit.
Whenever you go to like parking lots, you just set it down so people can take a photo of
every time I get in the truck, I have to get my step ladder out because I'm short and I have to get in.
So when you go meet your kids at Walmart, you can put your board out so you don't have to explain it to them because you get a little bit hoarse. I know.
Yeah, no, usually like every time I get out, park the truck, I just put the whole, definition of everything already written down, the whole explain it.
Do you put your jeans on there too?
Yeah, I mean, Jesus.
Those are on the back.
I thought they were your sisters at one point, but it turns out men can buy sparkly jeans too.
You know what? Sparkly jeans, but I got to work though. Like, they're nice and comfy. I don't have to rip. They don't rip.
Have you ever tore the seat on your truck with your jeans?
No, but I tore my the couch seats here at the house, and we want to talk about how much ass chewing I got.
I was pretty impressed that those pants don't come with Aeropostale shirts.
No.
Sorry.
Oh, you
American Fighter.
Jesus, how old are you?
Sorry, buddy. I'm not.
You know what? Just for that, I might have American Fighter shirt.
Yeah, there you go.
I haven't worn in probably 10 years.
Okay.
But I will break it out.
Did you get the pants at the same time as the shirt, though? Or
No,
was
the
it a
pants
separate
came before then. Then I think those were like a Christmas present. I was kind of pissed about it because I knew how much of a douchebag you are if you wear those.
Yeah.
At least you don't have a chain wallet. I mean, you're doing all right.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm not too happy about the buttons, and I know my girlfriend's not happy about me ripping the couch seats.
No. Yeah, but you know what? Hold on. We remember something, though. You haven't hurt your truck with them yet, though, so this is the good thing. We don't really care about your couch. I care more about your truck.
Yeah, but I know. I feel like it's coming.
Yeah, it is.
Any day now.
So inside, I have leather seats, short box, blacked out, can't see your girlfriend in it, but but yeah, it was in my buddy built it, but the funny thing was that my buddies call me Randy. I don't know why, they just do. So I went with my buddy David, and we went and he picked up the truck. But when he was getting the Wi-Fi and everything like connected and everything, he called it Randy's World, named after me. So then I had no idea that a year and a half later, 2 years later, I'd be buying the truck from him. Yeah. So I was like, I kind of have to do this because my name's on it. And
you're already on the password for the
Wi-Fi.
So
it's already yours. I mean, you got to buy it.
Home is where the Wi-Fi connects automatically.
Yep.
Yeah.
But no, I love that truck.
You actually use your truck, though. I mean, like, there's a lot of SEMA trucks and EE trucks and big wheel trucks out there with lifts. I mean, like, what do you use your truck for primarily?
Primarily, pulling around snowmobiles in the wintertime.
Yep.
I got a sled deck in the back. You put two snowmobiles on that one, travel around for what I do for work. I do a TV show called Sledded 24/7, so I got a lot of pulling around sleds to all over the country, out west, back up to Midwest. But no, even going hunting in the fall, like I'm putting that thing to work. Like we're gonna. Like right now, he hasn't gotten a bath in probably a month.
Right, that is a salty 2019.
Right now, it's salty. But I've only run it once.
SEMA worthy right now.
Yes, right now, if anybody's seen that, they'd be like, "Wow."
They would be upset.
Yes, but I'm putting it to work. Like I'm not gonna. Yes, I love my trucks. Like I had a 2500 07 Classic. Love that truck to death, but I wash that thing every other day and never. I don't think I drove that thing in the wintertime.
It's also cleaner than your SEMA truck.
Yeah, it's very much cleaner. The frame was looking better.
Yeah, that truck.
As a whole, I'm not talking about just dirty right now. That truck was the cleanest.
I love it and I miss it. And if I run into it again and the guy wants to sell it, I don't know. I might want it back, but right now I can't.
Yeah,
I get it.
Circumstances. I get it.
But no, right now it's dirty. But I don't want to wash it because I know I'm going to be going hunting later on today, and I can't. I'm going to be driving right down the gravel road again to get to my spot, and so or anything like that. But no, I love that truck. It's comfy. It gets me to where I need to be, but. If it sounded different, that'd been cool too. But.
Yep. little more pitch to it. A little more whistle.
Maybe a whistle and Dixie on that, and
maybe actually burn the rears off.
Yeah,
you can do that with emissions compliant.
Yeah, but I haven't seen them do it.
I know.
And I feel like it would take us scumbagging him to a high degree to get him to do that. I mean, you had some pretty wore out tires when you got that old girl.
Yeah.
And we still saw no smoke.
I know. I kind of got rid of them right away.
Yeah.
And I put
you knew it was going to happen.
Middle ridge grapplers on it right away.
You knew exactly we'd scumbag you into doing something with them, and those tires disappeared in impressive fashion. Like it was like, oh, Brody got new tires. Where's his old ones? So I have no idea.
If if knowing you two, and then plus me in there, Ryan plus Drew equals Brody and burnout. Like that's what you or you just got. Actually, it's probably Brody Ryan equals Drew.
Yeah,
Drew. But no, we would have had there would have been smoke. There would have been some rubber flying.
Yeah, that's the best days though. Ryan, what do you? Let's see, you got 6-liter E350. That is the EGR is shut off.
Yeah, the EGR is turned off.
But it's still on the vehicle.
Yes, it's got an EGR, which I get reminded of daily by people that I'm currently staring at, Drew Schultz and Brody. So the thing is, this is a $500 van. Me and Drew, what year was it?
That was
18 or 19?
That was 19. We've only been to UCC 1 year.
That was after I met Drew.
Yeah, it was the weekend after.
Well, see, so the weekend after we got back with the van from UCC, that's when I met Brody for the first actual time at the water crosses with the snowmobiles.
Yep.
Yes. Grand
So that was the first time I met Brody, and that's when we drove the van there after we had successfully made it home from the trip. So the van, it's a 6-liter. Everybody knows that 6 liters aren't exactly the most reliable thing, and everybody hears that they're milkshake makers and they're junk. So Drew and I wanted to go to UCC in 2019, and Drew lives in Flagstaff, Arizona, and I'm up in Wisconsin. So we were like, well, we can't just drive our basic trucks to UCC, which was in Indiana that year.
No, our plan. I was thinking we were gonna fly to Indiana and then rent a car, and I'm like, I'm not gonna take a Toyota Corolla.
Yeah.
And then we were gonna drive one of those to UCC, like the best diesel triathlon of trucks, and we're gonna drive a Toyota Corolla and roll up hard and then
we're gonna try taking my F350, but you're like, that's just so basic and not fun. And Drew and I are avid, we love scummy cars.
Yeah.
Really? You really do, huh?
I have a fleet of scummy shitbox cars that I own with Drew. And yes, I say own with Drew because I have to fix them. So the van, we went from let's take my 17 F350. And all right, that'll make it, but that's kind of boring. So,
also, have you ever driven an F350?
Yeah.
Totally stock suspension without a trailer.
It feels like your spine's going to shatter. I'm aware.
It's one of the worst.
It's my work truck. Ever. It's the ranch truck. That's why I have that truck.
I've never even seen it without a trailer on it.
No, it doesn't live without a trailer on it. There's a gooseneck hooked to that bitch at all times. Yep. Just which trailer.
Yeah.
So Drew came up with the idea, we start cruising Craigslist, and he's like, oh, let's buy a 7.3. Let's get an IDI. Let's do something. Let's do a 6.9. Let's do this. And I'm like,
some sub $1,000 shit box. Because again,
something that will barely make it. We're talking, don't register it. If it breaks down, we burn it and scuttle the ship.
So here's a little trick to the trade. I'm going to tell everyone this. So you find someone like Ryan, right? And then the trick is you never give Ryan a compliment. Because if you start telling Ryan how awesome he is as a mechanic, you're going to have to pay him. So if you continue to tell Ryan,
can do better.
Yeah. If you just continue to challenge Ryan to the point of basically purpose failure.
This is not even set up for failure. This is guaranteed failure, but don't fuck up and get to a deadline.
Yeah, and then and then you don't have to pay Ryan. You just, hey man, let's go try this, and then luckily
turns out you feed me and give me Red Bulls, and I'll do about anything.
Get him a coffee and maybe a burger. And
we all know how that goes.
Luckily, Ryan's down for just random debauchery. So.
Yeah, I love doing random stuff. So this whole thing, and he keeps sending me trucks, and we're going back and forth, and finally I'm like, I also have a really, really soft spot for vans. I really love vans.
I can tell that.
I had a lifted 15-passenger Quigley built Dodge that I loved, and I sold it. And then, so there's a shitty E350 for $2,500 or best offer, and I shoot Drew the picture, thinking that he's going to shoot me down like a stepchild asking for more food. And he comes back and he's like, "Dude, that's so sick!" And I'm like, "Holy shit." This might be happening.
We're also up here in
the van.
This van's up here in the Rust Belt.
Yep.
So I'm like, this thing is not gonna hold together.
Well, and so he talks to the dude, he talks to me, and then so it's funny that this van is a block from my work. So I call the guy up, I get there, I'm like, hey, can I take it to my shop, put it on a lift, and look at it? And he's like, yeah, man, go ahead, I don't give a shit. And I drive it there, and I immediately call Drew, and I go, man, this thing's way too fucking nice for us.
So the doors were rusty. That's it. The frame's super clean. Way too clean for us.
It had a ball joint. It was missing 2 quarts of trans fluid because it had a small leak that I fixed.
Yep.
And I go back to the dude, and it had a weird electrical problem. And this plagued me all through UCC because I lived in this van for 6 months? Because we travel so everywhere that Brody and Drew travel, I'm usually there as well.
But Brody and I
I didn't know you really lived out of this.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I did.
Like Brody and I had hotel rooms because we were actually like employed by these people, and then like Ryan showed up, and I'm like, dude, I don't know where you're gonna sleep, and then they're like, Ryan's like, I got the van.
I ended up stealing the linens from one of our other friends' hotel rooms. So I had an air mattress.
Sponsored by Best Western.
I had an air mattress. I had a full bed set up in the back. Like, you'd open it up and it was like pillow down, everything, and it was beautiful and amazing. So I lived in this van. I know it sounds horrible, and I have many great stories about the van.
Well, we'll post the picture of what the van looks like on the
the Legion van is
Roll
forever.
that beautiful bean footage, Brody.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, I go to this dude, right, and I look it over, and it's got this weird electrical problem that I'm getting back to here, and so you'd be driving down the road, and all of a sudden the locks would go tuk 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 tuk, and then stop for like a month.
Okay, we're on the radio. People can't see your finger.
I'm sorry.
So the locks are going up and down.
Yeah. For those people who can't see what I'm doing, it's a 2003 van. So the lock pintle goes up through the door card, and you can see it, and then goes down, and it goes at a speed of like a tattoo gun. And like you'd be sitting there at a stop sign, and all of a sudden go, and you're like, whoa, what was that? So then I go back to the dude, and his name was Ryan. I still remember because he's hilarious, and I'm like, hey man, I can give you this much for it, but I will not call you in 10 minutes when it breaks down.
Yeah.
And he's like, nah, I got this other guy coming to buy it for $2,000. I go, just remember that. If I break down getting out of your driveway, I'm going to laugh about it, call my friend and get me drug home, and I'll fix it.
Yeah.
So next morning, homeboy calls me up. He's like, is this going to do it for you? And I'm like, done. Went and bought the van. Put 2 quarts of trans fluid in it. I drove it for 3 days. So this is 4 days before UCC.
Yeah, and I'm still in Arizona, and I'm like getting on a plane.
You Venmo me the money, and I just bought the car the day before.
Like I'm getting on a plane, and Ryan calls me, and he goes, "We just lost the H-pop on the van."
Yeah.
And I was like,
on my way home from work.
What's an H-pop?
I said we lost oil pressure. And because you're not as familiar with 6 liters as you are now, you're like, fuck, you blew the motor. I go, no, it's just the high pressure oil pump. Like, it's not a thing.
I feel like that's the fortunate things about 6 liters.
Yeah.
Is when you lose oil pressure, it just dies.
You lose oil, yeah.
You don't take the motor out, right?
I feel like people give it too much shit for how awesome this motor really has been. And I mean, like, the van came with a 4-inch thick folder of maintenance. So, like, it'd been taken care of. But yeah, I called Drew up and like, I lost the H-pop, and he's like, about to get on a plane.
I'm like, do I get on the plane? Do I change my flight to just Indianapolis and go from there?
So I told him to shut up and I'll fix it. And I literally took
through the night.
Like, I took it apart, and I happened to have some ARP studs that managed to be about the same OD as the hole. So I drilled it, tapped it where the check ball popped out, and I Loctited the ever living shit out of it and reinstalled the old H-pop with a modified ARP stud plug. And then, because, like, you know, it was a stock car, it had a full exhaust on it, and I went to one of my favorite exhaust shops, and I, like, in the midst of fixing this, I cut the exhaust, and I put a 4-inch straight. Was it 4 or 5 inch? I think it was a 5-inch.
I think it's 4.
4?
Yeah,
I think it's 4. Anymore. It's been so long. But I have this other problem where I like to do big exhaust with 90s at the ground under the car so that it rattles your teeth.
It's the most annoying. Like, if you think your car has drone or truck has drone, like, point your exhaust 90 at the ground right below the driver and passenger and tell me what drone is.
I don't know why I love it so much, but even with my gas motor cars, like 90s at the ground, if you want to just...
It like tingles your eardrum.
It does. You want to equally offend everybody, even yourself. That is my favorite thing to do. So I just, like, while doing the repair, I happened to cut the downpipe to set this up, and I welded it all up, and it was just sitting by there, and it was like a 10-minute exhaust. I fired it up, and it scared the shit out of me and my whole family that was in the house trying to sleep. And, like, Drew calls, and I'm on the way, and he's like, what is that? And I'm like,
you weren't even on the way yet. Like, so literally, I get on this flight, and
you landed, and I'm like, I am just buttoning up the turbo.
So I'm sitting outside of the Minneapolis airport, twiddling my thumbs, waiting for Ryan to show up.
I forgot that you'd landed already, and you're like, hey, man, I'm here. And I'm like, it was like midnight at this point, too.
Oh, no. I think I remember that. It was like you didn't pick him up till
No, he landed at like 10:30, and I didn't get there till like 1.
Yeah, so I sat at the airport until then. Ryan literally pulls up to the airport. I throw my bag inside. This is the first time seeing the van.
Yeah,
I'm like, this thing is bitching, and like
he didn't know how good it was, and he only heard.
If you've
what
ever
I told
been to
him.
the Minneapolis airport, your pickup is is in a tunnel.
Yep.
So like we just ripped out of there, like lit, and then just pinned it through the night all the way to Indianapolis. And like to this day, I think that's the longest I've ever been up because like I woke up Friday morning or whatever, Wednesday morning or whatever
you
it was.
went to work.
I went to work and then got home, got on an airplane, flew there, got in the van, drove the van, and then Ryan slept like an hour in the back of the van.
Which was the worst. I think Drew slept more driving than I did actually laying in the back.
I kept falling asleep, hitting rumble strips and whatnot.
Which sleeping in the back of a cargo van with no seats, carpet, or anything.
Or insulation.
Or insulation. And then
You didn't have anything back there to lay on.
No, I was laying on my hoodie that I had thrown back there when I was doing a repair the night prior.
Yep.
And like all of a sudden I'd be like, and like he would recorrect and it would toss me to the other side. And then
I've never driven a van before either.
Yeah, and that was
if you've never driven a 6-liter van with body roll and like 2003 components,
It's so
still
scary.
with 300,000+ miles on it, like that thing has body roll.
I think it was like 290 at that point. We hadn't crested 300.
Yeah, it wasn't. So we drive all the way through the night, show up at UCC that morning, get our tickets, party all day at UCC.
We didn't even even better. We showed up to our friend's hotel to shower because I hadn't showered in 2 fucking days because I broke the van.
Yep.
Started tearing into the van at my yard, and then went to work.
Yep.
And then I went back to the van after I left work early and then went and got you on my test drive.
Yep.
So then we went there to shower, and then you were doing graphics, which we did expertly in a parking lot.
Half awake.
I mean, not even awake. But then we go to UCC and just had a grand time.
And then like that night, our friend lost the insulin to their cat or something. So we had I ended up driving around Indianapolis at like 3 in the morning looking for cat insulin. And
In this van?
No, this was in
her
vehicle
in
at
her
this
vehicle.
point. So like I was literally I'd been up for over 48 hours at this point.
Yeah.
And like I was eyes wide open and like I was asleep with my eyes open holding this cat that's like going into anaphylactic shock. Like,
Diabetic shock.
Oh my gosh. I was
So
like,
then, okay,
what
here's
the hell is going on?
So I wake up the next morning. This is great. So I don't know Drew's doing this because I'm sleeping in the van. I live in the van. This is my first time in the van.
You got kicked out.
But also, I was never kicked out. I chose the van. But the problem is we were in a really sketchy part of Indianapolis.
The whole city?
No, there's different parts. I mean, where I grew up in Indy was pretty good, but
Not in UCC though.
yeah, right. But, okay, anywhere near the tracks.
That's true. It's not
sketchy.
I guess it's not Gary, Indiana.
No, nothing's Gary, Indiana. Other than Gary, Indiana. But I'm sitting there, and I'm outside this hotel and sleeping in my van, and it's fucking raining, and there's like this drug dealer, a pimp, and his prostitute fucking fighting in the parking lot outside. The door locks keep going. So finally, like 3 in the fucking morning, and I always carry a toolbox on me because, well, I fix shit. I usually have a Drew around, so it's usually advantageous to carry tools.
Yep. Get you a
So
Ryan.
finally, it's like 3 in the morning. I have a pocket Milwaukee flashlight in my mouth, and I am taking all the doors apart, cutting wires until the fucking thing stops clicking.
Wrong wire.
No, I cut every single wire in the door lock system at the doors until I found the bad switch in the tailgate.
How long did it take you to figure out which one it was?
Like 2.5 hours. Because I was being nice at first, like, oh, let's take the door panel off because this car's really nice. And by the end, I'm like, fuck you. Just cutting shit. And then, like, so finally I go to sleep. The pimp and his drug dealer went to bed too. And I wake up to Drew knocking on the door, and he's got shitty hotel coffee for me, which I love industrial coffee. So I'm like, fucking right, what are we doing? And he's like, dude, you were not going to believe the night I had. And I'm like, you were not going to believe the night he had. And then we swapped stories, and apparently he had the better night because, well, cat insulin and driving around Indianapolis.
It was insane.
It was crazy.
Yep. We have a ton of van stories. We'll get to those later in life.
Okay, so we'll get to the van. But yeah, so we ended up going to UCC. We got it tuned in a funny way and then drove it all the way home. But it made it all the way back. So, like, that's the reason I haven't done anything to it. Because, honestly, if I have to get rid of the EGR...
Well, our plan was to make the van cool, and then sell it. Like every
Like we
vehicle,
usually do.
Like every vehicle I have, I tell myself I'm going to sell it, and then $6,000 later, like, well, no, I can't sell it because I'm invested.
Let's just say this: we live in the city here, and you want to call it city or the suburbs, and my little driveway that I have can maybe fit 2 vehicles, and Drew's got like sometimes it's 2 or 3 different vehicles, and people think there's like oil out in the street.
Yeah, that's the problem when you have an HOA. You know, that's why I live in the country.
There's no HOA here.
No. Oh, yeah. So I've heard. That's what I said. Living in the country. I have the gravel driveway hides all sins for oil leaks.
Yep. Yeah. So okay. So
Keeps
Ryan,
dust down too. You know that, right?
free dust control.
It has free dust control.
So Ryan has the van. Ryan inherited the van. That became his project. He fell in love with it. So I couldn't sell it. I couldn't couldn't bring myself to sell it. So Ryan invested a ton of money into the suspension. So now the van is lowered.
A lot.
Static 3-inch drop in the front, 5-inch in the rear, and it has the same crusty, rusty Steelies on it because it's a fucking sweet van from the Midwest.
Oh yeah.
And so that van
It's just for heroic burnouts and drifting. That's all it's for now. And highway pulls.
Yeah, if you go on our Instagram page and probably you will probably upload these videos to our YouTube page also, you'll see the van in heroic fashion multiple times.
Which is right now not running because, well, I'm a jackass.
Which, funny story, that's as I met Brody, I was like, Brody's done some videos for SEMA trucks and high caliber photo shoots and video shoots like that.
For real trucks.
So I thought it'd be hilarious to take the van and do a SEMA style shoot with the van. So
which is epic. It was such a good video.
One day I had an extra Monday to kill. So Ryan and I went and grabbed Brody and we went and did some rolling shots and all this funny stuff and like set it to like just great music and like it's just a, like same caliber of video you would see with like most SEMA trucks.
Except for it's with my jump van. It was steel.
$500 van.
And this is before we had it lowered. And so like it's just extra scummy.
Oh,
like
it's
you can
so
just
awesome.
like you can smell the oil leak. It's
I think
so
the weirdest part about going and shooting that is that you worked like maybe 10 minutes from where I grew up.
Oh, yeah, the Corvette shop?
Yes. And then your buddy drives by. I'm like, this is just too
Well, that
weird.
was his test drive spot. That's how I knew we'd get away with it.
And like a built Corvette.
Yeah, super built Z06, yeah.
And you like flag this guy down. I'm like, I don't know if he knows him, but I'm hoping he does.
Do a heater.
Ends up being the time attack car that I built years ago, and with my boss and his best buddy who owns the thing, and that was so crazy. And of course, you know, Brody didn't know me that well, and then like I flagged down some random dude in his hometown, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I used to work like right there."
It was fun.
I was like, I drive this road all the time. This is really weird.
Yep. Okay. So Ryan owns the van now. The van is Ryan's baby. And then
back to working on it, Ryan. There you go.
Other diesel creation Ryan owns F350. That's his work truck. Bone stock.
Yeah, it's a bone stock 17 F350, but I mean, in my real life, other than fixing Drew's stuff, so the stuff that helps me fund having fun with my friends is I actually own a horse ranch in rural Wisconsin, and then I am a automotive technician. So I work at a couple dealerships, and I do side work and build all kinds of stuff for myself.
So he needs a somewhat reliable vehicle.
Yeah. So like the fact that, but I mean, we travel. How far we've gone across the country this year? In that
would you do 40,000 miles this year?
45,000 miles. Yeah. On F350 this year, traveling, hauling horses.
Horse trailer. Yeah.
Jesus Christ! I've had my truck a couple of years. I maybe put 20,000 on this year.
Right.
Yeah. Winter isn't here yet for me.
Like
so.
I've already gone through a set of tires and that thing. Like it's done good for the farm. It does well. And like, but the nice thing about it is, and I hate saying this, and I'm gonna get ridiculed for it.
I love it. Here we go. Here we go.
I could feel Drew just waiting.
I can see the look right now.
I've never been happier.
Like you ever see a dog and you're holding a steak? That's what's about to happen. That truck being emissions complete is really nice because I travel all around the country into states where it could be an issue. Ha! Gay! And you know,
audio clip.
I feel like my van life has offset my emissions complete life, but I know it's not because then I recently bought a Volkswagen Passat diesel.
Full emissions.
Oh my God.
And it also has death.
Hey, I know.
You guys just funding the death community.
So even better.
Put the horse piss in. Let's go.
My wife likes to play games, and she put a unicorn air freshener in my Passat to make sure that the unicorn queef crew runs strong. So I don't know if you've seen that, Brody, but if you go down there and look, it's Yeah.
We should put a graphic and make a sticker. Put it right in the back window.
Like a unicorn with a beard. Yeah, that could be Ryan.
Put Ryan's face.
And then the sleeves, like the unicorn has like tattoo sleeves, and then like a beard, and then
put the sunglasses still, look like a ZZ Top, and then you got the unicorn.
Flat brim hat, no ears. Fucking, I get it. I like it.
Put the headset on so you look like you're from the podcast.
Oh man, that's gonna be good.
I'm kind of hoping that like my 17 is the only one that stays that way. Because I mean that's an emissions motor, so there's really no point in my mind to make that thing anything other, unless it breaks, of course.
Well, you recently acquired a 2011 Jetta Sport Wagon also.
Oh yeah, so yeah, well, and we.
Can I ask, what does your yard look like?
It looks like something out of a backwoods used car lot.
Do you ever go on Netflix and you find like that? God, what's that show? Rust Revival or whatever.
Yes,
yeah, that's my backyard.
Yes. Yeah, that's. That's what Ryan's yard looks like. Like the further back you go, the more the cars are just growing into the ground.
So like, you know the classic thing, like, oh man, that thing will be worth something one day. I'll definitely get time to fix it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I have a really dope 2-ton dump truck. I will fix it one day.
As long as.
But I've also
5-year plan.
I've also been driving it without brakes for how long, Drew?
Yeah, as long as I've known you.
The trick to stopping is first gear, key off.
Yep.
No clutch.
Yep.
Well, that's.
But I mean, like, so I have a fleet, and yes, I now have a 2011 Jetta Sport Wagon, which I bought with my dear friend Drew Schultz here. We went down to Pert near Iowa to get this, and it's a gem.
It blew us away.
It is just.
It sure did.
I needed a. Okay. That's what Ryan has. Ryan has a van. Ryan has an F-350 and a Passat.
What page of the book are we at for cars right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Page 1, page 2.
We're only talking about the diesels.
Yeah. Trust me. Going forward, we'll talk more about other shit we have.
Yeah, I mean, I have more stuff, but like that's the immediate pertinent cars that run that I can actually discuss. But I mean, like the Sport Wagon will get some love and get deleted, and I mean, like that's the prime candidate for some real shenanigans.
Yeah, because it's got a speck of rust on the hood, so let's hood stack it.
We obviously have to cut a hole in it.
We gotta get rid of that little.
Yeah,
well, I mean, even like your Mark IV Jetta. Mm-hmm. That body is cherry, and we giggled like idiots drilling a hole through the hood of that thing. Like,
that was okay. All right, so my fleet.
Yeah, this is just, by the way, his fleet lives at my house, so he is helping with the cars that will be fixed.
I'm sure if I had a few more acres, there'd be cars everywhere.
My problem is,
hey man, if you need to drop some cars off, we made parking spaces recently. It looks good.
Yeah,
that's what he was saying.
Ryan Yard's looking crisp because we started just bringing things to the scrapyard.
We took 5 or 6 to the scrapyard.
Yep, and then sold 2 on Craigslist.
So you're taking that money and going and buying more?
No, we took that money and gave it to his wife so that she would be okay with us leaving shit on her property.
Yeah, she does run a business off the property, so like the more it looks professional, and also it's kind of like hush money. Like, hey, I know we're married; it's been 11 years, but here, just deal with me. Here's some cold hard money.
Here's some sweet.
Don't
cash
speak too loud because I think my better half is in the room listening.
Yep.
So
I don't think you put your better half as much shit as I put mine through.
Well, he's only been with his better half for a fragment of what your better half has had.
Yeah, you 11 years. You take that one, subtract it by 10.
Mine really enjoys it when I say, "Hey, I'm going to go with Drew to the desert." Well, for how long?
Just a few days.
Months-ish?
Depends what we get into.
Yeah,
that is true.
All right, Drew, your cars. What do you got?
So I have
your vehicle. Sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you.
My main bread and butter, my main baby, my main
his bottom bitch.
My main squeeze. No, that's my top bitch. I have a race red paint code. No, I don't know that.
Racing stripes.
It is you liar. You don't know that.
It is a 2008 Ford F-250 with the incredibly reliable 6.4 liter in it.
It's been really good to us, though. I
has.
mean, we have done many mean things to this poor truck.
Yeah,
it's done well.
The only thing that I had issues with was the rockers.
What about the?
90% sure this is. So the truck's been blown up since February.
Well, we use blown up as of
you
lightly.
Barely got to Minnesota. Let's just say that.
No, but I mean,
I heard. I
don't like the word blown up because we don't know. I can still start it and run it.
I use blown up as a generic term.
I know you do, and I don't like it.
I don't like it.
Because blown up in my world means I can see through the block.
That's true. Very true. Very true. Yeah.
Like
I don't
grenade pin in the valve cover, let it go, blown up.
I don't want to give anyone the wrong impression. It has a slight.
It is not roadworthy.
Yes. Yep. It has a slight smoking issue. issue. White smoke, not.
We're not talking like weed or vape. We're talking like it's
not cool smoke like black smoke or anything. No, it has a white smoke issue.
And a bit of a tick.
Yeah, which one day we'll get to pulling the cab and messing with. But my problem was I found out how neat and funny Volkswagen TDIs are, which...
I've never seen a guy smile so much in my life. He starts that thing up and he smiles.
I'm sorry. And if you hear it start up from a mile away, you smile because you know what it is.
It sounds like a built Kubota tractor.
It sounds like a mini lawnmower. And you're like, what is going on? That was the first thing my wife said when she heard it in its current configuration.
Yep.
It sounds like a tractor.
So like I said, my background's in agriculture, so I've always dealt with giant diesel engines. Like
Not these
14
toys.
liter. Yeah, so I always thought like a 6-liter was tiny because, what a tiny diesel engine. So
And then comes the BEW.
So I get this idea. I kind of like rock crawling. Rock crawling's pretty fun. I liked my truck because I could tow things at 80 miles an hour down the highway. Giant trailers with a bunch of rock crawlers on it. And via YouTube, I saw some people, met some people that had TDI swap cars, TDI swapped rock crawlers. And I was like, this is going to be neat. So I find a Ford Ranger because I'm a Ford fan. I'm a big Ford guy.
Has to be red too, by the way.
Race red is my jam. If you find a race red Ford, I will try and outbid you on it. But
he's good at it. Be careful.
So I was like, oh, neat. I found a 1990 Ford Ranger.
It's dope.
And it's got a wicked tick in it. So I'm like, this motor's on its way out. I'm going to TDI swap it.
By the way, that was 2 years ago that he said this is on its way out.
Yeah. I've been.
Yeah.
His highway rod knock is heroic, but its drivability is amazing.
Because at this point, I don't want to just pull the motor out and be like, oh, it's kind of running. No, I want it to die.
Heroically.
I want it to just crap a piston out the side of the plug. Yep. So I've moved on to nitrous. I have a 15-pound bottle of nitrous that I absolutely love to ghetto fog everything with. That is my favorite.
So remember that part about Ryan's around to fix shit? Yeah.
My favorite thing is ghetto fogging crap.
Ryan, you're like on extreme speed dial anytime something happens.
Anytime Drew calls me and it's like not business hours, I'm like, well, get the truck warmed up.
So I got this truck, this Ford Ranger, and I'm like, I'm gonna TDI swap it. So I buy this TDI, sight unseen, from this sketchy dude.
It's real
sketchy dude in the desert, and he's like, you can't meet me at my house. And I was like, yeah, whatever, man. Like, I don't need to meet you at your house.
I get it.
Yeah. So the dude shows up at the gas station, and he's driving this TDI, and he's just pulls in pinned, and he's like, brakes don't work that good, man. I don't know what's going on there. The battery's shot, so don't shut it off, and it's $1,000. And I was like, does it drive? And he's like, yeah, take it for a rip. So I'm driving it around. I've never driven a Volkswagen. I've never driven a TDI.
Yeah.
And this thing is a blast. I'm like, this is amazing.
The subsequent phone call after purchase was amazing for him.
So I call this. So I meet up with this dude, which I got a ride down to Arizona or Phoenix from Flagstaff. So I get a ride down to Phoenix, and my ride leaves. So I either need to buy this car or convince one of my Phoenix friends to come pick me up and bring me back to Flagstaff, which is 2 hours away. So I'm like, you know what? I got to buy it. So I buy the thing for $1,000 and proceed to drive to my friend's off-road shop in Gilbert.
Did you actually look at the interior before you purchased it?
No.
Okay.
Because it was a swap car.
This will come back around, by the way.
All I was going to do is pull the motor out.
You're going to your friends. I know. I am very understanding, but
my friend Serena at SDHQ down in Gilbert. So SDHQ down in Gilbert has put up with a lot of my shit.
By the way, shout out to Serena, dope chick, also great company.
She does,
and also amazingly tolerant of Drew Schultz.
If you need anything, okay, I buy this car off Craigslist, drive to her parking lot, and I'm like, I'm going to shut it off here because there's everything inside this facility to get it running again. I got Ryan on the phone. I will get back to Flagstaff.
You hope Dan's in the back somewhere that could help you.
I pull up, shut the key off, and get out, and I hear a bubbling noise. And I'm like, is that the coolant? And I look, and there's smoke coming out of the hood, and there's shit on the ground, and I'm like, that's not good. Pop the hood, the battery exploded. So there's battery acid
everywhere.
The battery's now a ball.
Yeah,
it's no longer a rectangle, it's a ball. So first thing I do, run inside.
Poor Serena.
Serena, I need a battery for a 2000 something. I don't even know what year it was. Volkswagen TDI. She's like, why would I have? She's an off-road shop, people. She does
real off-road
suspension, fab work. Why would she have a battery for a Volkswagen Jetta? So she goes, I have a Odyssey PC 1200.
Ouch.
I'll take it.
Do it.
You just spent more money in battery than you did on the car.
I did. So I take the battery and I'm like, what do you want with this? And she goes, get that battery out of my parking. By the way, Serena moved into a brand new, beautiful facility, fresh asphalt. Like I was the second or third comes through.
Battery acid
I
everywhere.
dumped battery acid all over her parking lot. It was incredible. My favorite. So she's like, get that thing. So she like take the battery in the back. They have like a waste management thing, container.
Yeah.
Dispose of it. I fire the car back up and it runs and drives. I'm like, sweet, this is awesome. So I start rallying that thing around town. Like, this is a blast. Fill it up with fuel.
This is about the time I got the phone call. He's like, did you know that Volkswagen diesels are amazing? I'm like, yeah.
Backstory on Ryan. Ryan worked for Volkswagen for 12 years through the Dieselgate thing.
Drew did not know that, which is funny.
No idea.
Like, he called me, like, yeah, dude, I worked at Volkswagen for 12 years. He's like, huh?
He's like, what year is it? I'm like, I don't know. So I open the door, check the door code. I'm like, it's an 04. He's like, oh, that's the BEW engine with the O2J. So I'm like,
O2A.
Ryan slang.
yeah, whatever, man. this thing rips.
I can make words up too.
So I end up like driving the thing all the way back to Flagstaff. I haven't even put fuel in it yet.
You don't have to.
Like I got the thing
that's
at
a once a year thing.
3/4 of a tank, drove it all around Arizona, down to like the south part of Phoenix, like all the way back to Flagstaff. It still had like a quarter tank in it.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, bitchin'. So I end up driving this thing. I end up, my life went nuts again. And I end up in Minnesota for
Side story. His life's always nuts.
Literally, there should be a vlog
Yeah, there
of
should be.
following him around.
Yeah.
Him and his damn dog.
So I end up in Minnesota for a stint, and I need to commute like 45 to an hour to work. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I got a TDI. This thing's amazing.
It's in Arizona still.
Yep.
That's what I mean. It was in Arizona when this happened.
No, this is...
You came up to Minnesota.
Yeah,
you
and I
found
had
out
it
you're
right
gonna
away.
work.
No,
found
you
out
brought
you're
it on the
gonna work
trailer,
there.
didn't you?
Yeah, it was on the
Yeah,
trailer.
that was afterwards. But you came up here and you're like, damn, I don't want to drive my truck around. You're like,
Oh, that's
I
right.
do have a
Yeah.
Volkswagen down in Arizona. And that's where you're like, well,
It was-
I'm
that was
gonna go back to
Arizona,
Arizona.
baby.
Then you're like,
That was the sad part. I either could bring the Rodnock square body Ford Ranger
hey, that would have been a cool choice.
and commute that
He's
an hour to
got
work every day.
choices.
Yeah,
Or I
yeah.
can drive my newly acquired Volkswagen TDI,
Whoa.
which I already sold to somebody.
Yeah, that's the best part about this. He sold it when he moved back up
I
here.
resold it and like made money on it, but the guy didn't pay me. He like, oh, I'll give you $500 a month or whatever. I'm like, all right. So dude gives me $500.
You
Can't
also
make-
kept your battery
Yep.
when you sold it to him. So you
that was an odyssey, man.
I need my battery back.
That thing was worth more than the car
like,
was.
so when it came back, it had a shitty Walmart. It still has a shitty Walmart.
No, it doesn't. Your cabriolet does.
Oh, I don't have a cabriolet anymore.
You're welcome.
Never mind, I take it back.
Yep. So
Thanks, dude, in Phoenix.
So the car, it ends up bringing me back and forth to work. So I fall in love with this Mark IV, and I'm like, I can't pull the motor and trans out of this thing. Now that I know that Ryan's a master technician or whatever they call the Volkswagen dude.
I was, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, hey, Ryan, it's doing this. And he's like, got it. Like, he's got the valve cover off. He's got new injectors in it. I'm like, this thing ripped. Like, so now, fast forward to today. This Mark IV is now lowered on racelands.
You forgot about the body, the interior.
Yeah.
No, I'm ignoring
you
that.
wanna talk about
I'm
the
ignoring that on purpose.
Ryan, I almost brought
I'm
that
going to
up.
bring this up because this is the day that Drew went. This is one of the few. Okay, I'm going to preface this. Like he said early on,
I did wanna bring it
mechanics
up.
like Ryan, you can't. Drew's claim to fame is he never tells me I do a good job. So this is one of the. This is the only time this has ever happened. He bought this car. The interior looks like a cow had a baby in the back of it.
It did.
Like
It was
I
a
was
swap car. I didn't
blood
plan on
stains.
driving it.
He even said,
everything.
he's like, don't sit on this side.
Like
If you
the
don't want to know. It's kinda
headliner
weird.
had blood on it. Like it looks like it probably got parked in the back, and some guy's dog died in the back. But we needed to get some taillights or some miscellaneous part that cost like $400. So Drew, being the Craigslist aficionado that he is, found two Mark IV Jettas for that same price that we could steal.
No,
in.
they were like $250 for two of them because we're pretty sure the one was stolen.
Oh yeah, because Methy McGee knocked me off the damn trailer and we loaded. Yeah, you're right.
McGee.
Oh, dude, this guy was.
Okay, imagine the methiest
One
kid you can think of. No, not
teeth.
even that.
No teeth. No teeth.
Hard to understand.
That dude could give a wicked gunny.
Like this guy had some, so we ended up buying this thing because it had Racelands on it. This is the good car. So there was two. There was a VR6 and there was a 2-liter. And
Also, I'm pretty sure Ryan regrets ever telling me that he worked for Volkswagen.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, Ryan, does this fit on this? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, oh, cool. I found this, and we can swap this into this and change
it's not a
this.
regret, but like this is the common the text how it reads. It goes, Ryan, will this fit? Do you want me to research it? well, will it fit? I'm like, yeah, probably. And he's like, cool, man, I already ordered it.
It's on its way.
So yeah, we get these 2 cars, and we end up making this really killer interior. We rebuilt it all with fresh leather, door cards, everything, and the car looks amazing in the inside now. But when Drew bought it, it was sketchy.
Yes, it was $1,000 car.
It was worth it. Sure. I would not have bought that for $200 at the interior that way, because I feel like you should have been implicated for a crime.
Yeah.
He's like, either he had like a towel in the bag. He's like,
and then it looked like
that around.
And then the body. So the body is rust free because it's an Arizona car, but it looked like somebody had let their kids use it as a jungle gym.
Yeah.
So there's like weird like writings on it. There's like hieroglyphics all over the car, and it's really weird. But it's like patinaed and scummy enough to make it cool.
It's like an Arizona patinaed 04.
It's because it is.
Jesus.
Like, except for this has hieroglyphics from some Mexican kid.
when let's just say
He's not being racist. That's literally where I got it. Like it was.
We're in southern Arizona, people. There's Mexicans there.
Yeah, it might have been a coyote car.
Yeah, it might have been
carrying them across the border.
It looks sketchy, man.
Oh, it was so
okay.
fun.
So we got that car with the interior, and then it had Racelands on it. Then it had some really shitty wheels. But so we put the Raceland suspension on it, and then that's where we are. Go.
And then Steely's. So now it's on Racelands. It's got Steely's.
It's dumped. It looks like
and
a
it's
roller
like
skate.
full leather interior, like super nice. Because like one of those cars was like a GLI package or whatever.
Both
the nice,
of them are. So yeah, gray and black interior that we mixed and matched.
Yep. Whatever the nice package was. So we made this just incredible, sweet ass looking Mark IV, and then like proceeded to just throw go fast crap at it. Like so, my big thing is delete everything and tune it. So I tuned the car, and as soon as I literally tuned it here in the suburbs, so I had no tools. There's no tools at this house. And we just, it was like computer related. This is the only reason I could do it here. So like I just did the tuning, walked out to the car on the street, started it.
You're back and forth a few times.
Yeah, flashed stage 1 into it, and like went to the stop sign, turned the corner, grabbed second, went for the 2-3 shift, and the thing just
hazed the clutch,
blew the clutch right out of it. I was like, well.
And then Ryan on speed dial got used.
Ryan, it's blowing the cluch off. He's like, well, yeah, you're putting a ton of torque to a stock.
Yeah. And you have a dual mass flywheel, dummy.
Yeah. So
what's that?
Sure, man.
Sorry, you know what? I can give you a Husky set that I have right now, and that's all I got.
Oh, okay. We'll go back to that.
Brody's Husky set is half-inch drive only.
Yes.
The whole thing is half-inch drive.
Hey, all I need to work on is my
10
slide.
Have you ever seen what the inside of an engine bay of a Volkswagen looks like?
God, I don't even.
You need quarter-inch drive and torque spits. That's all you can do with those.
And Brody's got like half-inch to 10-millimeter reducers. Yes. So like you got
all I need to do is change oil on my truck and fix a few things in the house.
Typical.
And
if his extensions and adapters don't look like a space needle by the time he gets to it, he doesn't want to do it.
all I need to do is my first house.
Yeah.
I got a garage. I finally got some tools.
Yep.
But
by the way, Brody's garage is like the size of his truck. So it's
funny story. His truck hitch, you can see the imprint on the drywall.
Yeah. Damn it, Ryan.
That's how tight this is.
You should ask my girlfriend what happened, where she was in the house, and when she heard it.
I think she was in your bedroom, just above the wall.
The whole house shifted.
There was about to be a SEMA truck coming through into her bedroom.
Oh, it was incredible.
The sad part is I don't know if I can put my sled deck on, and I think it will fit in the garage.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
You're
if
going
you
to wipe
could
your
get your
face out.
Yeah.
If you could get your sled deck on, you're not putting a sled on it.
Oh, God, no. Hell
Short
no.
bed sled decks, like even a stock trail sled hangs off the back like 3 feet.
Dude, and like for how short you are, you'd walk out like half tired one morning and knock your head on it and fucking hurt yourself.
This is Brody's garage comparison. When he puts his truck in, to get to the other side of his truck, he has to open the garage door
go around.
because you can't fit around the front of it.
Surprise.
Which is where the garbage cans are. So like he goes to the garbage out.
There have been adventures to tall mountains that take less work than getting to Brody's other side of his garage.
That, you know what? If you see my garage and me, that's my life right there. You can't just make life simple walk around. Growing up, it was a whole different story.
Oh, yeah.
Having my dad have an excavating company and pulling backhoes, loader, dozers, semis in and out of the shop. It was my dad. And
you could get near your house, put it in neutral, and end up in the garage. Yes. You didn't have to worry about it.
I gotta leave the truck in there, whatever. But now it's like, oh shit. I gotta
suburb life, right?
You can't. I wash my truck and you can't dry it.
It takes them 15 minutes to get home from work, and then 15 minutes to get into the garage.
Yes.
That's Brody's commute.
Growing up, my dad
has a
was
half-hour commute.
I could wash our trucks at my house where growing up, and my dad had a big pole barn, and we could roll it right in, and life was so easy. Now it's like I have a hell of a time doing anything.
I mean,
at this house.
to be fair, you did choose the house.
Yeah, but
I mean, like,
Wait, in Brody's defense, we needed somewhere to live. I literally.
fair enough.
Hey, Brody. Remember a year ago when you talked about getting a house?
It's like my shop.
Well,
Let's go.
we were talking about a house, and I looked at my bank account, and then I talked to the banker, and the banker's like, "Oh, first home, huh?" I'm like,
Here you go.
yeah.
I needed a house for my girlfriend and my best friend.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was that? Well, actually, it's for my best friend and my girlfriend, but don't tell her that. There's a girl that I know that'd be
So,
really
Drew,
pissed
you,
if I get that wrong.
So I wanted a lot. I have a lot of ideas. I'm an idea guy.
Yep.
But I know what's
That's why I like you.
That's why I know from ideas to reality. But Drew knows what I'm most of the time when I'm like, hey, I got an idea, but let's be real here.
Yeah.
He comes up with an idea, and then you give him a little nudge, and we complete it.
Yeah.
That's the best way to think about it.
Like, think about the podcast for a reason.
And then I usually get a phone call like, is this possible?
Let's see where we end up.
Which, I mean, like, we're really spread apart right now as far as just the team goes, like our group here. Because, like, Brody and Drew are down in the cities. I live in northern Wisconsin. And then that's where our shop is. Because my farm doesn't have enough room for the shop because horses win for some reason.
Yep.
So, like, I have to go even further north to work on my shop that I rent, which is mostly filled with Drew's stuff.
Yeah. Currently.
So, like,
where your
for
shop's
his
at, it's
truck
a cool
and his other
location.
Jetta. No, my shop is really neat, and it was really cool. It's just not truck friendly as much as I'd like it to be. So I'm gonna build a shop
That's
one
another
day.
reason we have. I mean, going back to the TDI world. So back to we keep spiraling. I love this.
We have a lot to talk about.
We do. This is why this is going to be great.
We have a lot of great stories. And they're only
Okay, so
gonna
back to your Mark IV. Mark IV.
So the Mark IV, I looked at it one day, and it's lowered on Steelies, and it does heroic burnouts. So we put a big ass clutch in it, and then I spiraled down the wormhole of the TDI world. Now I know
parts from the
way
UK.
too much about TDI parts. So I ended up buying TDIs. Ryan buys a TDI. We all have. What do we have now? 5 TDIs.
Passat, Jetta.
We have a Jetta.
Jetta.
Yeah, 5 TDIs.
Let's just say if they find me a Jetta, there might be one in the driveway.
So we have 5 TDIs all of a sudden.
Because they're great.
Yeah, they're hilarious, and that's the size of Ryan's shop. Ryan's shop fits a TDI perfectly.
Yeah, the van was a bit of a
F250 is going to be hard. The van is very hard, and the F350 dually is not fitting. Like absolutely
height
not.
or width.
Yeah, so we're like, all right, let's go back to this world. So
Yeah.
we want to get back into the truck scene. Ryan's building a shop at his house, so we're going to get back into the truck scene. So I own a Mark IV that's got a hood stack. It's lowered, and it's got maybe
It's a roller
200
skate.
200 wheel horse.
Of
Maybe.
the most glorious horse there ever was.
But it also has a hard cut limiter. It's hilarious. You'll see in our YouTube videos. Check those out. That thing does heroic burnouts.
It's not the fastest car in the world.
No.
But the best thing about
It's a
it is,
TDI.
like,
There's no fast TDIs.
there are, but
No, there's not.
I'll fight you for this one.
No, there's not. It's not a thing.
Just so everybody knows, you'll hear a lot of this going back and forth. I usually just sit back and let it happen.
There are fast ones in the world, just not like yours.
What? No. Okay.
All right, come on.
Fight
I'll
me.
hear you out.
Here we
I
go.
will. Let's do this.
Fuck you, fight me. So, by the time you put that much money into a TDI,
Yeah.
300 wheel horse.
Okay.
What are you doing in a quarter?
I don't care.
15 seconds?
All I want to know is what you can do from 15 to 100. I am not a quarter mile guy. I like going because I drive so many miles a day.
Brody, insert the gay.
Okay.
No, roll
Yeah,
racing.
wrong one.
I'm not roll racing. All I do.
Roll racing is not racing.
I'm not racing.
Dig or nothing.
I'm fucking around on the highway with my Passat and my van.
No, we're going back to fast cars.
Oh, you want to talk about actual racing cars?
Yeah, I'm not talking you on the highway racing people
Well,
that have
that's
no
what I'm
idea you're
talking
even
about.
racing. No, that's not.
Just so everybody knows, I'm only drinking coffee and just sitting here listening to this.
I'm racing the clock. That's what I'm racing when I go to work.
Okay. Fair enough.
Fair enough. Like actual diesel race cars.
But again,
I've
there's-
seen one in my life, and it was fucking a turd.
Which one?
It was a Golf TDI in the Rally America days.
Yep.
And that thing was heroically slow.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure the Geo Metros were faster than that car.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right.
Another backstory with me. I don't know that much about diesels. I think they're awesome. I love them. I don't know that much. So if you hear me talk about stuff, it's things I've learned in the last year and a half, 2 years.
Really deep dive.
Same here. I'm just listening. You know, I know enough, but thanks to you two, I'm like, okay, there's a whole nother world.
Yeah. Feel free to correct me if you hear anything.
Oh yeah, same here.
Gibberish coming out of our mouths.
If I ever correct these two, I better be 100%.
I don't know anything. I just can fix stuff. So I mean, like,
I just love the diesel world.
Yeah,
like,
same here. It's
we
so
went to
much fun.
UCC, had an absolute blast. Every TDI. I've come in contact with every TDI aficionado I've met.
Yeah.
Fairly cool people.
Yep.
I went to a diesel drag race in Phoenix one time. Drag race my F-250, which
best 15 seconds of your life.
15.2.
Not that he's keeping track.
I have the time slip in the door. That's how I was.
I got yelled at for almost throwing away once.
Yeah, because that was my first rip down the strip, and it was so much fun.
Two-wheel drive though, right?
Nope, that was
You put her in full snort?
full four-wheel drive. I had to drive it home, and I was like, you know what?
And I wasn't there, so that would.
I was in the staging lanes on the Uber app looking to see how much an Uber home was, and it was $367. And I said, I have that in my bank account. I'm gonna four-wheel drive launch this thing.
I would say, knowing you, like anything south of 1,000, you're like, all right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can do it. So I had my buddy Austin, who will be on here eventually. Also,
he's epic.
He's
a nine ball.
He is a hilarious time. I had him in the passenger seat. He had been drinking all day.
Oh boy.
So he's hammered drunk, and my other buddy's in the back seat, and he's hammered drunk. And we pull up to the line. I roll the window down, and the guy goes, "The guy in the back seat's got to get out." And I'm like, "Why?" And I thought it was because they were drinking. And he goes, "No, because he has shorts on."
Are you serious?
Yes, that's the rule at the drag strip. You have to have pants on.
That's fucked up.
So everyone's drunk. We're in a bone stock F-250 with 3-point seatbelts on. The stock.
And then your buddy with his shorts stumbles out the back, hammered as.
If you've ever been to Wild Horse Pass, it's an NHRA track.
Yeah, so it's like legit.
We're at the tree. I did a burnout in the box, and then the guy made me roll my window down. So after the burnout box, I'm already like creeping up to the line. The guy makes my buddy get out, hammered drunk, wearing shorts,
and so he's stumbling on the VHT track, like stick. Oh god,
laughing our asses off. I clicked four-wheel drive, spooled the boost. I only went to like 10 psi. I was just trying to look cool.
Just trying.
Mostly you were getting the converter filled up and the lines all pressure.
Because the only thing I know about diesel racing is what I've seen on YouTube. And at UCC, had I been to UCC yet?
No,
I don't think so.
No, we had not.
No,
because that was the catalyst for like, hey man, we're going to UCC, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it was because of that
good time.
So I was like, we got to do this. So we did it, and in 15.2 seconds, I got to the end eventually. And it was a blast. It was a freaking blast, and I was like, I love this stuff. And then there were so many people that came up to me, and they're like, hey man, what do you have done to it? I'm like, I deleted it, and then I tuned it to be deleted. No power adders, no tow mode, nothing. Just tuned to be deleted.
Did you have ladder bars at this time?
No.
So you still have the shit U-joints in it?
Yep, shit U-joints. Just axle wrap for the first 60 feet.
I can't believe those U-joints held out. God.
Yeah, I can't believe the motor's held out as long as it has.
Anytime you drive a car, I'm surprised the motor hangs out.
Yeah, very true. So the 6.4 will be making a comeback this summer. Once Ryan gets his shop done, we're able to lift the cab. We'll be doing some stuff to it, and then it's going to be a fun adventure, I feel, with this Red Diesel podcast. We're gonna get into some stuff. We're gonna go to some events. We have a friend at Amsoil, and she's helped us out. And
they're great.
Yeah, she's helped us out with oil. I've used Amsoil my entire life.
Same here.
Coming from my dad, and being from Minnesota, Amsoil is right up in Superior, Wisconsin, which is on the border of Duluth, Minnesota. So it's right there on the border, which is really cool. So like you always used it in your sleds and everything else. And it's just been a great product for me. So going into the UTV racing, I used it a bunch in that. It always helped me, I felt. And then going into diesel is just kind of a natural move for me. So our friends at Amsoil have decided to come on board with the Red Diesel podcast and really help us out a ton with oil. And the biggest thing I think is going to be getting us in connection with the people they sponsor. So we're gonna be able to talk to a lot of the people at Amsoil So we'll probably have some of their tech people on there that actually know things about diesels.
They're poor tech people. My favorite thing. Drew, the worst thing that ever happened to Amsoil Tech Department is when Drew got their phone number.
I'm like, wait, you can just call guys at Amsoil?
Yeah. We went, he calls them, and we went there for a tour one day, and Drew cornered a guy in his own cubicle.
Okay, no. So going into this tour, like,
Hold on, no. I want to hear this. I want to hear your side because
this is the first time when I went up there.
I'm talking about the time I went with you, and you cornered that poor man.
This is when I got to meet Carly at Amsoil. I got to chat with her, and she was like, "This kid's a 9-ball. Like, this kid has no idea what's going on."
Yeah.
And I go there and I go for the tour, which if you've never done a tour of Amsoil, I suggest you do a tour of Amsoil.
Cool.
If you want to have a lot of fun, do a tour of Amsoil with me.
Yeah.
Me, Ryan, and Brody will meet anybody that wants to have a tour of Amsoil. And we will go up there and do the tour with you guys.
You bring me some stock coffee, we will walk around and give you a tour.
The only way to get us to have a good time is coffee.
Yep.
Let's walk and talk.
Coffee and Red Bulls.
Yes.
That's currency here.
So I go to do this tour. Mind you, I go into this, right? Like, I haven't had health insurance in a coon's age. Forever.
Health insurance doesn't exist.
So I start I'm having like respiratory issues. Like, I should probably be in the hospital. The night before, I was like debating going to the emergency room.
That's another fun phone call, by the way.
I have the tour of Amsoil the next day, and I've never been on it. And it's going to be incredible. And I did it with one of their off-road drivers, Bryce Menzies.
Yep.
So I got to go with Bryce Menzies. Bryce Menzies' entire team, and some other influencers.
So Drew looks like he's the kid at Willie that won the ticket at Willie.
Yes.
Wonka.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
These other like professional athletes and their teams are just like going around, and Drew's like wide-eyed staring at things like, oh my
asking
god,
questions and like,
they're just like, does anybody else have any questions?
Anybody else? Not that kid. And then the best is they had like a luncheon or whatever, and then like I'm standing there, and the people that work at Amsoil have no idea who I am, which I'm technically a nobody.
Yeah, same here. That's nobody's in the game.
Yeah,
man.
that's nobody's in the game. So like these people at Amsoil are coming up to me and like talking to me, and like I'm like, oh, I'm from Arizona, and like talking about like racing UTVs and stuff, and then they're like, can I have your autograph? And I'm like, I'm nobody. Like, you don't want my autograph. And they're like, why am I talking to this kid?
I won to Chicagoland. I got a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good. So then like we ended up going through the whole tour, and then like the next time we go to Amsoil was with Ryan, and yes, we ended up sitting down with the tech guy and like cornered him in his office, and we're like, what's the difference between competition oil and like street oil?
I did make it sound like Drew was the one who cornered him. We collectively cornered him.
This poor guy's got to talk to us now. So we ended up getting his number.
He's got the stand-up desk, and he's like sitting there like standing up, tipping at it.
So good.
And we're just like, so actually, if we did this, and what should we use for that? And he's just like.
So Amsoil has been a great help with all of this.
Yeah, they're great. They're amazing people, and their product is amazing.
Yep.
Yes,
so
they are.
They're helping us out with everything, and that's going to be really great. And then from going forward, we're just going to see what happens with all of this. We're going to keep going to events,
Yep.
I mean, we have fun at either way, whether
we have fun no matter what.
Whether this is happening or not, our big thing in life is just let's have as much fun as possible. And that usually translates into shitty cars and doing burnouts and going to events and just having the most chaotic fun we can have.
Most of the time, these two have more fun without me because usually I'm at events or I'm caught up in the snow world or the moto world.
Brody works a lot.
He does work a ton.
Like,
I think I work a lot, but like, Brody, what are you up to? Oh, I'm doing this gig.
I got to go out west. I got to go Midwest. I'm up north. I'm over here. It's pretty wild, but usually these two are just the guys behind it, but Drew's just these two are my buddies, so I'm always, hey, you around? Yep, I'll be there in 5.
I'll say, you've been around for some heroic good times, so I mean,
there will be more, trust me.
There will be many more.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Oh, it's so good.
So, yeah, going into 2021, we're going to really, Red Diesel Podcast, we're going to record when we can, bring you events when we can, just... I can't stress it enough. Like, the more you guys stay tuned and interact and just have fun with us, it's going to be awesome. Yeah. Come to events, say hi. And, we're nobodies. Just come have fun with us. If you
we're just a bunch of guys that like diesels.
If you want to come rip burnouts and
if you like doing sitters on limiter, like, you are in the right place.
Yeah, that is our jam.
And if you like wiener dogs.
Jam.
Yep.
Oh yeah, wiener dogs, sausage dogs.
Yep, we got a wiener dog.
We do. You see that look right now?
Yeah. He sees us.
He's wondering why we're talking to ourselves at the table.
He's also wondering why the cookies haven't been touched.
Yes. He's up on the couch right now trying to see what's on the table because either he jumps and he can barely see.
Yeah, he's a small wiener dog.
Yeah,
he's ferocious though, so you gotta be careful.
Yeah. Don't get a little too close. But yeah, guys, we went almost a an hour right now, or over an hour. We really thought maybe 20 minutes, but we really like to talk about stuff.
I think this first one, I think this is going to preface the whole show. We're going to definitely end up going on spirals and tangents of stupid stories. But that's, if we don't have we probably won't have an episode every week going forward. We'll probably have them every other week.
Honestly, that could be 2 episodes right there.
Still, I think it's solid one, and we can.
It's good.
Either way.
That flowed really nice, though.
We'll figure it out.
That flowed really good, honestly.
So thanks for tuning in to our first episode of Red Diesel Podcast. If you can, just subscribe on our YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell. The little bell actually tells you when we post a video. So it'll send you a message when we post a video. So that's really helps us out a lot, gets those numbers up. Also, our Instagram page is Red Diesel Podcast. So it's just Red Diesel Podcast. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Just click the follow button, subscribe to us. Follow us along. We're going to post just random videos. It's not always going to be podcasts. It's going to be videos of us doing burnouts and events and going to things, and Ryan and I working on random crap and stuff like that. So
and it's pretty random.
Yep. And you'll see my big SEMA truck that.
I mean, you're in snow season now, so like
5'6". I shouldn't say 5'6". Shit, I'm actually 5'7", 5'8" if I got my boots on.
Those are some big ass heels.
So I got my Red Wings.
Hell of a platform on those. Funny story, his girlfriend got him those, so she just she wants him to stand up.
It was a birthday present.
It's mostly so that when they go out that they can be eye to eye. So it's okay. I get it.
Hold on.
Sorry, everybody listening. Sausage Dog is trying to balance on the back of a couch and not working out.
You ever seen a wiener dog try to be like a cat?
Yeah,
it's not doing it.
That's this guy.
But anyways, we're gonna have a lot of fun. I'm excited.
Yep.
We're all excited, and who knows? We might actually we might record a couple podcasts at events.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a thing.
Yeah,
if we got to do it. Oh, we have the van.
We have the van,
and we have
production van.
We have an Easy Up, so we can just sit in the parking lot
and just
set the
chirp
Easy Up.
people.
I got one of those. We just got to change out the tent. That's all. We got to change out the cover.
Does this contraption here take electricity, Brody?
You just got to plug it into a little generator, and away we go.
I mean,
My car has an inverter, doesn't it?
The van also has.
All right, guys. Well, you guys have a great day. We're gonna come up with more ideas. So catch you on the next podcast.
We'll catch y'all next time. We have to catch up on how to do this.
All right. Have a good day.
Later.